The Build Show, my friends. We are live from California. That's right. I'm in Ventura, California at the BMC Window and Door Showroom, and we got a great presentation for you. You know, if I think about today's program, my hope is that you watching this, maybe are a builder, maybe a remodeler, an architect, you're thinking about building a house, you're going to get to walk the showroom with me and two experts and really learn what you need to know about windows and doors in terms of performance, options, and we're really going to get into some nitty-gritty on cost. My hope is that when we're done, you'll be able to do a little bit of a rough order magnitude estimate for yourself about some of the different options we're going to go through today. And by the way, before we get going, I do have a black eye. My 4-month-old puppy absolutely bonked me on the head the other day and gave me a black eye. So that was not a bar fight. That's actually from my 4-month-old puppy. All right, guys, windows and doors, Build Show Live. Let's get going. All right, guys, we have a great presentation for you, and I've got two really long-term builder experts on this topic with me. First off, let me introduce you to Matt. Matt is an expert on windows and doors. He's actually the millwork specialist here at this location. So Matt's working every single day with builders and architects and remodelers on all these products we're talking about. And then I've also got Carlos, the Jefe over here on the window and door side. Carlos has been doing this for 20 plus years, like 25 years, Carlos? 26 years. Yeah. So we've got really good experts, and this is my 25th year of building. So between the three of us, we've got 75 years of experience on windows and doors. We got a lot to talk about. So with that being said, let's dive right into what we've got on the table. Carlos, if you could, let's run down the options in terms of what the windows are made from today. And then while you're doing that, I'm going to ask Matt some pricing on these options. So where do we start, Carlos?
So first off, we have a corner sample of a vinyl window there. That's a retrofit window that has a flange, a flush flange. So when you're replacing on a remodel, you can easy way to remodel at a less expensive cost. So that's there's 3 flanges available, a retrofit flange shown there, a nail fin for new construction, nailing onto your studs, and then a block frame. So block frame, again, is used for retrofitting as well. So vinyl is a really good product. It withstands almost all the elements that are out there today. So,
yeah, and probably the most popular window in America.
Correct.
And Matt, it's probably most popular because of its price point, right?
Yeah, it is definitely one of the most affordable products for windows that you can get, and doors as well. You know, do an average price, they kind of start around $300 for the basic, but they can build up with options, finishes, and hardware options as well.
Gotcha. So as we're going along, by the way, today, I'm going to ask Matt, you know, what's the rough order of magnitude pricing? I'm thinking about kind of standard size, double hung, single hung, maybe casement window. And that's what he's answering on this, is this is about a $300 window per hole for a normal size window, you know, a 2.6 by 4.0 or 3.050, something like that. We're talking about $300. Carlos, what's next up from vinyl?
Next up we have is our aluminum windows. So we have 2 different type of windows here shown. Your typical aluminum window, and then we have a thermally broken aluminum window. So the thermal break is to help with the heat and the cold, to break the heat and the cold from coming in or going out.
So that's the thermal break.
So that's
right
the thermal
there.
break, right? So for today's energy efficiency codes, that you'd want a thermally broken window. The aluminum window today is used a lot in multifamily type projects, but you also see it used in a lot of higher end, really big custom type of projects as well.
So that's such an interesting dichotomy that, you know, the next up in cost from vinyl is aluminum. And sometimes we'll see aluminum in apartment buildings. Sometimes we'll see it in multi-million-dollar houses, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So they do some really big windows in aluminum because it's stability. It's really durable, so it's hard. So you could put some really big size windows and doors in a big custom house.
Yeah, the other thing I want to point out too is if you look at this vinyl frame, look how big that frame is. Now this has a bigger flange on it, but the frame needs to be bigger because vinyl as a material is not as strong. Whereas we set this one down next to it, look how thin that frame is on the aluminum, much stronger material, which means we can get away with a thinner frame size. I think that's why aluminum tends to be really popular in the upper end.
It does, because it gives you more glass. And that's what everyone's trying to achieve, bringing the outdoor to the inside of the house.
So Matt, talk to us about cost on aluminum.
So aluminum's kind of tricky. You can get to the more basic standard aluminum like we have right here, and it prices just like vinyl.
Really?
Yeah, but the problem is, again, like we already touched, it doesn't meet current energy codes.
Right.
But when you get to the thermally broken stuff, the high performance that will meet the California energy codes, the price points get astronomical. You can be anywhere from being about 20 to 50% more to even double on some product lines. You get into some where we have simulated steel that looks like a steel window, and you can be triple the price. It is one of your top tier products.
I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but our least cost thermally broken aluminum, where do you think you might end up? 600 bucks, 700
I would say the least cost for, let's say, a 3050 casement, you probably range somewhere between $700 and $900 for that casement window for a thermally broken.
Yeah, for thermally broken. And then it's also going to go up from there, right?
Oh,
you can
most
spend
definitely.
1,500, 2,000 plus on an aluminum thermally broken window.
Yes.
And that happens all the time in expensive houses.
It really does.
Yeah. All right, Carlos, what do we got next on the table?
Next, we have a composite window. So this is has wood and vinyl mixed together. So it's really strong and durable. It's a really green window because they actually take recycled products and put it together and make this window, but it has the strength and durability of a vinyl and wood mixed together. So that's the beauty of it. And you can get colors on this. You can get different choices. Again, in high, or a lot of high water usage, you can use a window like this as well.
Yeah, so like if you had a window in a bathroom, let's say, this could be a really good option because it's totally impervious.
Right.
And we're going to get into brands here in a minute. And in fact, Matt and I are going to walk you through a bunch of brands. But when I think of that composite window, I typically think Andersen 100.
Right, and that is the Andersen 100.
And that's what this corner sample is.
Yep.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Matt, how about costing for this particular one?
So right there versus vinyl, it's usually kind of the direction you go from a vinyl window to the composite because it does offer those nice finishes on there. You can see anywhere between 20 and 30% increase going from a vinyl. And you also get a more consistent look throughout all the product lines.
That's not bad. So maybe $100 more, let's say.
Exactly.
To have a nice step up, I would say, in finish quality from vinyl at $350 to this at maybe $450.
Exactly. And you get a more stable product too.
Yeah. And a bunch more details. Okay. Moving on, Carlos, what's next?
Next, we have an all fiberglass window. So this window is a full fiberglass inside and out, again, shown with the retrofit flange. Income new construction as well, but it's definitely an upgrade. I mean, it's all fiberglass and it's really strong and durable. Again, another product you can use when you got a lot of water usage, for example, in the bathroom, or but it's just a really strong, durable window. So it's a really good upgrade from the other products that we have seen.
Yeah, I've used a lot of fiberglass over the years, and I like the strength a little bit thinner too, typically than vinyl, because it is a stronger material, so you don't need that fat frame. Matt, what can you tell us about cost on fiberglass?
Fiberglass versus vinyl, again, you see about 40 to 50% increase on there.
Okay.
But the benefit of that is if you're trying to get that aluminum look, you can use a fiberglass product and you can still be energy efficient.
Ah, that's interesting. Because when you look at this, honestly, you have a hard time not knowing that isn't an aluminum window, because it really feels and translates to that. I also find that on these windows, they have mitered corners. They don't have the vinyl corners that are the welded corners. So they tend to be a little crisper. This is a nice upgrade. So we've got vinyl as the lowest cost. We've got a low cost aluminum that's similar. We're stepping up by 120, 30%. This is another couple percent more than the composite, maybe another 20% more. So, you know, this window could run 556, let's say, something like that per window.
Right.
And then what do we step up to after that, Carlos?
So now we have is a clad window. So basically this is a wood window with cladding on the exterior. So on this particular one, we have vinyl on the exterior. The beauty of these types of windows is you get the look of a wood window, but without the maintenance on the exterior, and you can get color options on the inside. What we have here is pine. You can either stain the pine, you can paint it, whatever you want to. There's different options you can do on the interior side of it. So again, the whole thing of a clad window, you get the look of a wood without the maintenance.
So what's the difference between these two windows? These are both wood, but is there differences between the two?
Yeah, so this one's actually, again, this one has vinyl exterior. This one has aluminum exterior. And then this one shown here has simulated divided light. So it's the look of a true divided light, but it's actually just one piece of glass. And we have the grids on the inside and out and a spacer in the middle that'll look like a true divided light, but it's actually just simulated divided light. So it gives you the look. And again, a lot more color options on the exterior of the aluminum, So that's what a lot of people like to upgrade to this type of product line here.
Are there any other types of cladding besides aluminum and this vinyl for a wood window?
Yeah, actually fiberglass. So some of the lines that we carry actually have fiberglass on the exterior as well.
Cool. So we're going to show you that in a little bit.
Okay.
Talk to us about cost on these, Matt.
So that one has the biggest variable. You can be anywhere, depending on options and product lines, you can be anywhere between 30 to 100% different. But your most entry-level clad products are usually 30 to 50% more.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So you might see a clad wood window, let's say the Geldwin sight line, which is probably one of the lower cost wood clads. Could you get one of those for maybe $657, do you think?
Yeah, yeah, totally. Okay. You can get it for right around that price point, and then you step it up to the higher product lines, more like the custom, the Geldwin custom, or the Geldwin Epic View line. You know, you're looking at double the price.
Yeah. And then we've got Marvin and Andersen window options that we're going to show you in a minute on those. Really helpful to see this. Before we transition to our next part, I do want to mention, for those of you watching live, we've got a Q&A tab, and I'm already seeing it filling up with questions. We're going to spend the last 15 or so minutes of today's presentation, and we might go a hair over that hour time limit, but we're going to try and answer as many of those questions as we can. So as you're listening to today's presentation, hit that Q&A tab, and we're going to answer those questions in a little bit. And if you're watching this pre-recorded, in the future, we'd love to have you join us for these live episodes so you can ask your questions. With that being said, guys, I want to transition to the next phase of what we're doing today. And actually, yesterday, Matt and I took a full showroom tour. We're going to talk about really the three main brands that they sell here. We're going to compare the Marvin, the Geldwin, and the Andersen. We're going to talk through their lines, talk through their options. And so let's cut now to the video that we shot yesterday. All right, guys, we're here at the BMC Ventura location. They've got all kinds of different brands and options here. Let's go take a tour. Oh man, that is a cool door. I like that.
Oh, that's just a small door. Matt, how you doing?
Small door. That thing's a beast.
Yeah.
Is that like 5 by 9?
That's 5'6" by 9'6". That's a 600-pound Sapele mahogany door.
Ooh, with a Rixson pivot on there or something.
Oh yeah, that door has sold us a lot of doors.
We
designed it just specifically for the showroom.
That's a nice entrance. I like that, Matt. I mean, that's one big benefit of buying from BMC/Builders First Sources. You guys can get all those cool customs, or you can get these pre-manufactured. And let's show these guys some of the options on the manufacturers you sell.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things that we have in the showroom is because we have put multiple products in our showroom to show the customer, the contractor, what they can buy for different budgets.
I like it.
We got everything from, we have our Milgard.
So Milgard, I always think of Milgard as kind of an entry-level window, a lot of vinyl, but maybe some fiberglass option as well.
Yeah, Milgard is your vinyl, your entry-level window. They do tier up to several different other products with fiberglass to, give a little bit higher end feel to your home when you are on a budget. But that, that's where we kind of start with every project.
Man, I used Milgard in my production builder days almost 20 years ago and had a good experience with them. They were a good brand.
They're probably one of the most recognized names in the industry. If you haven't heard of Milgard, I don't know where you've been.
Yeah. Now, moving on from Milgard, your first big kind of display here is Marvin. And that's definitely a brand that I've used a bunch of over the years.
Yeah, Marvin is one of the oldest companies in America of a window. And they're considered probably one of the more higher end products, a Ferrari per se, of a window and door.
Now, these guys rebranded not too long ago, so every window is now part of the Marvin name.
Exactly.
But I sometimes think of them as their old brands, and I like this display you've got. Marvin Essential used to be called the All Ultrex.
Yeah, or the Integrity.
Or the Integrity, that's right. And that's their fiberglass window, right?
Yeah, that is their base. They're considered their bottom line window, but it is a beautiful window because it is fiberglass. It's stable. It's not like your vinyl windows that tend to flex, move, have a reputation for not always being the most stable product. Fiberglass is 100% rigid.
Yep.
So those windows are like boats. They're like surfboards. They can be painted. They can be, you can do anything to them.
I like the surfboard example.
Yeah,
considering we're so
exactly
close to the beach.
right here, but they'll hold up to the test of time.
Yeah. And then the next step up from that is what I remember as the Wood Ultrex series, but now they're calling Marvin Elevate. That's fiberglass frame, but wood clad on the inside, right?
Exactly. It takes their fiberglass product, super stable, but gives it a little bit more life, a little bit more character on the inside, giving it a pine wood interior that you can stain, you can paint, you can bring a more little life, a little more pop into the inside of your house.
Gotcha. And then Marvin, the true name, right? Marvin's Signature. That's this display we got right here. Talk to me about the Marvin and Signature line.
So the Marvin Signature, formerly the Ultimate, that is their aluminum clad. That is their top tier product.
So all wood window, right?
Yeah, it's an all wood window base frame with aluminum cladding on the exterior. It has an Alma rated Kynar finish on the exterior, or anodized, or custom. They can go pretty far direction with what they do on the exterior.
Yeah, and I've used a lot of that product that I bought from BMC back in Austin. One of the big benefits from buying from you guys is having a showroom where you can see and touch and feel all these things, rather than just looking in the catalog and going, now I wonder what the difference is between that fiberglass product and that wood clad aluminum product. What's next? Anything else in this section, or should we move on to the Geldwin?
Let's move on to the next section.
All right, I'll meet you over there. All right, Matt, so talk to me about Geldwin, and what do people need to know about the Geldwin line?
So the Geldwin line is kind of like your GMC, your Ford. They have a little bit of everything to offer on their product lines. We start off with their vinyl, their entry level.
Okay, so lowest price point.
Yeah,
obviously.
so their lowest price point. So they have every little option to be able to fit the standard home, or even custom homes as well. So we start off with their vinyl product right there.
But then we go up pretty quickly to the next option, which is a wood clad. Is that right?
Yeah, so the next option is their Sightline aluminum clad product. So it's their entry level aluminum clad. It's a wood base frame. And they also do aluminum finish similar to the Marvin.
And my understanding of the Sightline, Matt, is it's a pretty nice price point. It's lower than a lot of wood-clad windows in terms of price point.
It is very flexible on what you can do with price point, and then also with just traditional look in your home.
That's nice.
Yeah. So
and then moving up from Sightline, what's next?
Their next lineup would be their custom series, and then their Epic View series. Another form, the custom is just basically super flexible.
Yep.
You can basically do anything you want with it. Window sizes, operations, no end in that. And then
I would tell you, Matt, I've actually got quite a few of their customs at my house under construction right now.
Yeah, and you understand the flexibility of what you can do with it.
I did black exteriors, black pre-painted interiors. I did triple glazed windows, lots of flexibility and options. And one nice thing that I liked about Geldwin compared to some of the other brands we talked about a minute ago is I even love that they included a head flash with the window that was an aluminum head flash that matched
mimics the look of a true aluminum window of a clad. Window,
and smaller sight lines too on this frame.
Yep, and
that's
again, super flexible in the sizing and everything that you can do with that.
Now, Epic View and Custom though, now this is really their upper price point, right? We're probably competing with Marvin's Ultimate or what Marvin
Signature.
Marvin Signature.
Yeah, you got the Marvin Signature that the Epic View would compete with, along with, which we'll check out next, the Andersen product, the E series and A series.
Okay.
It is a top tier product.
Got it. And as we come around the corner here, I'm noticing the Geldwin logo on some of these doors as well. Talk to me about these.
So Geldwin owns a multitude of different companies, sub-companies, and one of their product lines is their IWP.
Yep.
And they offer both custom fiberglass and wood entry doors. And they are, again, one of the top tier of entry door systems because even with their fiberglass, You can't tell the difference whether it's wood or fiberglass.
All right, so let's take a little builder quiz here. This looks like a mahogany door to me.
Yes, it does.
Is that a true mahogany door?
That is not. That is a fiberglass door made to look like wood.
I lose. That is impressive, man. That looks totally like mahogany, but that's actually fiberglass.
Yeah, this door right here fools everyone.
That's an impressive door.
Everyone will call this door out as a wood door, but it is fiberglass.
So that IWP Custom, I have a very intimate relationship because my front door is IWP
Well, you
Custom
made a great choice right
at my
there.
house under construction. And again, the flexibility of that custom door is cool. I did like a 7'6" tall front door, which is what I needed with my height. And I did custom widths. I did custom side lights. Geldwin custom painted it. And I've got triple pane glass on my front and my side lights that Geldwin did.
There is nothing I've ever sent to them and they've said, no, we can't do it. They'll find a way.
Now, I will tell you though that you pay for it.
You do
that is
pay
an
for
upper
it.
price point. That's not a cheap entry system.
By no means.
But it's a really nice option for the right house and the right budget.
And definitely for an entry door, especially for something that you want to last a long time. I mean, the entry door is one of the primary points of your house.
Yeah, it's the first thing you touch.
Everyone sees it. Everyone notices it. Everyone oohs and ahs over it. So when you get something that you know that's going to outlast the house, it's worth the money.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Let's transition over to the Andersen. We'll meet you over there.
Yeah.
All right, Matt, where do we start with the Andersen line?
So the Andersen line, again, like Geldwin, they have multiple products to offer. And we start right here at the Andersen 100 series. This is actually a composite frame window. It's not vinyl. It's a 50-50 mix of vinyl and wood pulp, all recycled from their plants.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I actually saw their plant tour like 10 years ago and remember seeing how they made this. So this product's not new. It's been on the market for a while and I've used quite a bit of it. It's been a good product for me.
No, it's a great product. It's super stable and it's also super flexible with what you can do with it, both in sizes and functions. But one of the cool things that they offer, unlike a vinyl or a fiberglass product, the color is capped on. It is part of the window. So it doesn't scratch, it doesn't chip, and it holds an incredible rating where it won't fade for a very long time to the point of being noticed.
That's nice. I'm also noticing on display, you've got black, which is popular at my house.
Yep, we got the black, we got the dark bronze, one of Andersen's staple color, the sand tone.
Sand tone, yeah.
But they will do white and other colors as
And
well.
I'm guessing that one nice thing that you've probably done is you probably used this 100 series sand tone and match that in the same house, different locations with maybe a 200 or 400 series.
Yeah, that's one of the nice things that you can do with this product because it will pair so nicely with the other Andersen lines. You can do the whole back of the house, say in a 100 series to keep it affordable. And then the front of the house, do one of the more higher end products, their A series or their E series.
Let's walk around the corner as you're talking about that and go to the next series up. And actually, while we're over here and behind the window, we haven't really spent a whole lot of time talking hardware. But one thing that I want to get across to people watching this is when you buy a lesser cost window, there's usually a less expensive hardware involved.
That's correct.
When you buy a higher cost window, there's usually more expensive hardware. And it's my understanding that a lot of the hardware is made by 2 or 3 manufacturers. And that Andersen, Marvin, they're not making the hardware; they're buying it from someone.
No, I mean some of them do have some unique properties to them. So right here, like the 100 series, they actually offer both a basic plastic hardware, which you'll find on most vinyl windows, but they also offer a nice metal hardware too, where you can do a custom finish on it.
So you could upgrade in this same 100 series to get a slightly more expensive hardware.
Exactly.
And that's one thing that I would like to make sure that people watching this get across is that when you buy a more expensive product, usually there's better hardware. And better hardware, more beefy frames means that window, that door in 5, 10, 20 years is probably going to operate better.
Exactly.
Not just on day one, but on day 10,000.
Exactly. With those hardware options, it just makes it so much more flexible with what you can do in the higher cost products.
Yeah. Now, Matt, when I think of Andersen, this is what I think of as a big differentiator. What are we looking at here?
This right here is their 400 series. Specifically, this is a casement window. One of the neat things about their 400 series, it's a vinyl clad product. So it's a wood framed product, and then it has a vacuum formed vinyl face to it. And as you can see here, there are no seams, No, nothing. All
No
the way
corner
around.
pads, nothing.
There is no chance for any leakage with this window at all.
I think you and I were talking earlier about the factory tour that I took, and you'd been there too, to see that vacuum former that like sucks the window down and makes this continuous flange.
Exactly. You got those big old massive sheets of vinyl,
and
it just sucks it down, makes it into the shape, and then they basically attach it to the wood frame.
I love not seeing a pinhole here, not seeing a corner pad here. That's a nice, very weather-tight frame.
Exactly.
I think that's a nice step up in terms of performance when you go to that 400 series.
Exactly. And you have the stability of the wood all behind it.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, all these manufacturers, we haven't spent a lot of time on it, but all these manufacturers are going to make swing doors that are going to match in with their windows too.
Exactly.
Right?
And this is one of the things that we did right here. This is actually their E-Series. This is their aluminum clad wood interior swing door, but we paired it right next to the 400 series. Just being able to show how you can compare frame styles and everything for a nice consistent look.
And for the old school builders out there, you probably remember the E-Series as Eagle windows and doors that I installed, 10 years ago in houses. And I like that they had an LVL core, meaning a non-solid wood, but an engineered core for the frame. But then they clad on top of that with a thick veneer of real wood. So it looks like a wood door, but in fact, it's got the strength of
it makes it for a super stable door. You can go to really large sizes on these. If I recall correctly, 3'4" is their maximum width. And up to 9'6" on height.
Oh, that's a big door.
Yeah, you can create a big door on that.
That's a really big door. Now this part of the display, it looks to me like it's similar. This is maybe E-Series as well.
This right here is their A-Series. So
this is A-Series.
Yeah, this is A-Series. So this is their fiberglass clad line. Again, going back to having the stability of what you can do with fiberglass, the paintability if you want to, but what you can do is just make some really big windows with it. Right here, we got an A-Series casement, a smaller version of it, but you can go up to a 4 foot by 8 foot tall casement window. I mean, you could practically walk through it if you wanted to.
Holy cow, a 4 foot by 8 foot casement, 32 square feet of casement.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes, it is.
I do like the fiberglass on the outside compared to vinyl. Now, you don't get that continuous flange. You'd have to have a corner pad on this. But I do like that fiberglass is a little easier to paint. And if you're in the hot, humid South, fiberglass is probably a better choice than vinyl in terms of
much definitely.
And UV resistance.
It's just so stable. It's not going to move on you. You have repeat performance day after day, year after year, season change and season change.
For sure.
You know what to expect.
Yeah. Nice door too. This is the A-Series door as well.
Yep, A-Series door right there. That's our in-swing door. Real clean, real traditional French rail style door.
Now I'm going to walk through this door to get to this door. This is a slider. Is this also the A-Series slider?
That right there is the E-Series slider. That is their E-Series contemporary slider. It's their traditional patio door. Andersen just recently released this contemporary door to compete with the big multi-slide doors.
Okay. I like that. That's real nice with that anodized aluminum finish on the outside. That's a nice contemporary door.
Yeah, gives it a good aluminum look to it without the price point.
Yeah, and traditionally when you buy a wood clad product, you're getting a slightly better U factor than an aluminum that needs to go to a thermally broken aluminum to get to similar performance.
Exactly. You get something that's going to meet all energy codes and you don't ever have to worry about that.
Right. Yeah, that's nice. And then what do we have on this last display? Is this Andersen as well over here?
Yep, this is the Andersen E-Series. We have a casement, and we also have a double hung. Just kind of showing a little bit of everything. Real popular black finish, which everyone's trying to do right now, and then also something a little bit more traditional for the historic homes.
And they're using a vinyl flange with a corner pad, but it looks like it's coming from the factory in real good shape. I like that.
Yeah, no, it's nice. And they also offer aluminum drip caps or the plastic drip caps as well. So there's a little flexibility in what you can do. And they also do clad casings as well. One cool feature that they even have a clad sill nosing for their double hungs for a more traditional, especially if you're dealing with more historic, 1950s home.
I like it. All right, Carlos, now that you saw Matt and I's walkthrough yesterday, what did we miss or what would you add to that?
Well, I would just say coming into one of our showrooms is like almost shopping for a car. You can get a basic car or you can upgrade your car. And this is what we have in our showrooms. So the more money you spend, if you want to put a sunroof or if you want to put rims or leather interior, you know, then you go to upgrade to like a clad window. You can have different wood options on the inside. Or if you just want a basic economy car to get to work, then you just go with the vinyl window. But we have all the options here to get you from A to B and whatever decisions you want to make. So.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, Carlos, you know, when we were talking pricing earlier, Matt, and you were throwing out, you know, $350 for this, or I was extrapolating, you know, $500 for that. What I'm trying to do is give you guys a rough order of magnitude and cost so that you could, by the time this program's over, you could go, you know, I think I'm interested in this particular window. This one was around, I thought around 500-ish per window. I know that my house has 10 windows. That's $5,000 I need to put in the budget. Whereas this window is a little more expensive, starting at maybe $700, $800, $900. If I'm going to use those same 10 windows, now I'm looking at more like, you know, $7,000, $8,000, $9,000. It's hard for me to talk pricing on this, knowing this is a national audience. You're going to pay a different price in Fargo, North Dakota compared to Boston or LA. That's just the way the world works. There's different pricing. Labor rates are different, all those kinds of things. Plus, we want this video to be still applicable 1 to 5 years from now. So when we talk pricing, I'm really just trying to give you some rough order of magnitude. I'd highly encourage you, though, when you are building, if you're a builder, find the mat in your town, right? Builders First Source, BMC, there are like 500 some locations around the US. There's a mat in your town that you could call and say, hey, here's my plans, or I'm thinking about designing this house. I'm looking at trying to find some rough numbers. And for years, I had a spreadsheet that I knew what the 3 or 4 windows I typically use cost in these several sizes that I commonly used. It was really easy for me to get a pretty good rough estimate on costs without even having to send the plans over to my BMC rep to get a price. Speaking of which, this is a window quote, and this is what you're going to get whether you order windows from BMC or Builders First Source or typically some other companies out there. You're going to get something like this when you give them a set of plans. And when you look at this, this is going to have a lot of really good information for you as the builder, remodeler, architect client. It's going to show you the size. It's going to show you the operation. It's going to show you the efficiency of the window, the U factor, which is the measure of efficiency. It's going to show you the solar heat gain coefficient. That's that SHGC number. It's going to show you things like visible transmittance. We're going to get into a few of those things later. But it's going to have one line typically for each window and door in your project. So depending on how big your house is, this could be a multi-page document. Now, with that being said, let's jump to the next part of the program where we're going to transition from windows into doors. And right over here in the showroom is where Matt and I are going to give you a tour of these, and we're going to talk costs over there as well. So let's cut to that section. Now, let's go take these guys over to the sliding door area to show them some of the options you all have. Yeah. Meet you over there.
So Matt, one of the biggest things right now that we talk to builders and homeowners about are big doors. Yeah. I think it's one of the biggest things in home design right now, bringing the outdoor to the indoors.
For sure. And then especially here in California where you've got ocean views and canyon views.
Yes, people want to see it all.
But you can spend a huge range of cost on an opening. You know, if you've got some 6-foot patio door or some 18-foot multi-slide, there's a massive range in cost.
And that's the nice thing that we're able to show here. You know, there are options for vinyl, there's options for aluminum, and it covers all the price points. So anyone can really afford a big door now.
There's options for vinyl, really?
Oh, there is. So right here we have Winddoor. It's all vinyl product.
Wow.
And
on the outside, that did not look vinyl.
Oh, the outside, yeah, it's a painted finish. It's a painted finish. It's all vinyl. And you're able to get a bifolding door for between $600 to $800 a linear foot now.
It's not bad at all. So we've got a swing here that this is stationary. So you can let the dog out here, or you can open this thing up and have a big opening.
Exactly.
Right? That's pretty cool.
Yeah, they go pretty big too.
So then what's the next step up from this?
So the next step up, anytime when you talk about a bifold, is going with aluminum or aluminum clad.
Okay.
So right here, we have La Cantina's contemporary clad. You get a thinner style and rail detail on there, a little bit more glass, but you get to do large spans and some customizability to it as well. And then also
So that accordion's out.
that
when it opens.
accordion's out. But also one of the biggest things is screens.
Yeah, what do you do with screens for a door like
Yeah.
this?
So Lock and Tina brought their own screen system to the show.
Oh man, check that out. That is sweet. I like that, Matt.
And that will cover the whole span of the opening, you know, up to their limits of their lengths.
Oh, now we're talking. Because if you've got a big door, but mosquitoes are coming in or flies, you don't want to open
No,
that
you
door.
don't. So
But
you
that makes it much more usable.
have the whole open and have this open all day.
Is
all
that a
night.
crazy expensive screen?
The
or-
screens are, you know, the screens definitely add several grand to the product.
But totally worth it.
Oh, it
Makes
definitely
it
is.
functional and usable. I like that. And it's pocketing away and you don't see it anymore. That's really nice. What do we have on this side? Now you mentioned these are smaller, but when I look over here, I'm seeing even tighter lines on this, which means probably more glass, more views.
Yeah, right here we got a Lock and Tina multi-slide. This is their standard aluminum. So one of the big things is how much glass do you want?
Mm-hmm.
And how much do you want to be able to open the door?
Okay.
So with a bifold, you have some restrictions on how much glass you have because of how bifold operates.
Yeah, you got the frame.
If you want more glass, you can come here to a multi-slide door where you get a thinner frame
Mm-hmm.
and you can open the system about half of what the bifold systems will open up.
That's nice. And that's an all aluminum frame too on this one?
That right there is an all aluminum frame.
And you could probably get that thermally broken or non-thermally
You can get it
broken as
thermally
well.
broken as well.
And now you mentioned that other door that we first looked at was probably in the, what, 600-800 a linear foot range. Talk to me about where these fall in that same category.
These fall, the bifold, like the clad bifolds, they fall into about a 12 to 1400.
Okay.
The multi-slides can be anywhere from, they even do vinyl multi-slides as well, can be anywhere from 800 to about 1200 as well.
Okay. Not bad. So these are similar price points.
Yeah.
And then what's this last door? That's a nice looking door.
We go back to where we started. This is a Marvin lift and slide.
Oh, I
This
like me some
is
lift and slides.
this is the grand champion of Marvin's system.
That's really pretty.
We can do massive panels, unlimited sizes,
Uh-huh.
and the coolest thing about these doors are they are a completely flush track system.
Oh my gosh, look at that.
When you lock it down,
It falls down onto that track, right?
falls on down to the track,
Yeah.
and it's 100% seal. You
I
cannot
like your
move
display.
that.
You're showing how basically you can have a flush transition, which is the tiny little track. And because the door lifts up and moves, then it can just move in that tiny rail. But when
Exactly.
it falls down onto the flooring, seals really tightly.
It's fully weather tight.
Now that's a more expensive door than $1,200 a linear foot. That
Oh
would be my
yeah,
guess.
you're getting closer to the $20,000 mark for something like this.
Yeah, that's a nice door. If you had a nice view and you wanted a really tight house, a lot of the passive houses are using lift and slides because they can seal really tightly.
Exactly.
And they also seal really tightly, typically about against wind and water and bugs, that sort of thing. Compared to a door that maybe has brush seals, this one usually has really good, sometimes multiple points of sealing.
Yeah,
so
when
that's
you
a really nice door.
when you use the weight of the door to seal it, I mean,
It's not going anywhere.
you can't get anything past it.
Also good security too.
Exactly.
Now, what's this last door at the end here? A little smaller than some of these other doors. What are you showing off with this smaller door?
This one is a little bit smaller, but this is Geldwin's low friction glider, similar to a lift and slide, except
Low friction glider.
yeah, the cool thing about this door, instead of it actually dropping down like a lift and slide, this one actually pulls in and out from the frame to seal up against the weather strip.
Huh.
So it falls in the same category of on concepts.
Well, you're not kidding. Low friction.
No,
That's serious.
and you can keep going up in panel size, and that panel still glides like
That's
butter.
really nice. I'm guessing with this header height that you've got here, this is like a retrofit. You're showing like a retrofit. If you had a 6'8" patio door, you're doing a remodel, you can't change out your header. You can custom size
That's
it.
exactly what we did here. We did this on purpose because this is a very common header height, 80 inches here in Ventura. And not many places show off how short that actual door is.
Yeah,
so,
it's good to see that. It does bring it down. If you're 6 foot tall like I am, you're,
Oh, yeah.
you're thinking
you'll
about
you'll
ducking.
definitely notice it when you walk through that door.
All right, so we've showed you some expensive doors and some beautiful but costly options for exterior doors. Matt, let's end the program here in this section which I think can make a really nice door at a really good price point. So what are you showing off here?
What we're showing here is our fiberglass door. Super popular, maintenance free, can hold up to the test of time, probably outlast the house.
Yep.
But these are all some of the factory options from Masonite, Therma-Tru, and Plastpro that you can do for your house, for your entry door.
I like these. These are nice. Talk to me about price point for a door like this, Matt. Some of these fiberglass doors that we're seeing.
You know, you're looking between $800 to $1,200 for these. These ones actually are displaying some factory pre-finishes on them that can hold up and carry a warranty.
That's really nice.
And you get a little, you get a little bit of taste. I mean, that's perfect for your privacy on your like a bedroom door or something.
So that's a smooth fiberglass. I really like this kind of chamfered edge, square sticking. You could get glass in there too, probably. That's a nice door.
Yeah, Therma-Tru has really set the bar to what they do with their doors.
So when you buy through BMC, one nice thing about these guys is you're ordering this door. They can custom order whatever door from lots of different manufacturers. And then your millwork shop then jams this, puts it in the right jam thickness, you know, 2x4, 2x6 exterior, or whatever size you need. I've got 2x8 exterior walls. We can put an Endura sill, an Endura multi-point, a frame saver jam. You know, I got all those options that I can get through BMC. And at those price points, very affordable, but very customized.
Yeah, anyone can get one of these doors, and you know, you got something that will outlast the house.
I like that. And you've got a few more on display here. We've got some Masonite doors. You've got wood door options. You could do a true wood door. Oh, you got a little pocket door display.
Oh yeah, that's the cavity pocket door with the soft close. They're not the pocket doors we used to remember. These things actually.
These cavity sliders are nice. This is a New Zealand hardware that came over to the States a couple years ago, and I have like 5 of those in my house.
It's the best way to go. It is well worth it.
Let's end the video here at the showroom with this last thing. I think this is a cool display that you've got, Matt.
Yeah.
What are you showing off here with this TV screen in the door?
So right here we have Therma-Tru provided us with this really awesome display. It's their classic craft door, and you can play around and see all the different glass options that they offer on their doors. That way you don't have to have 20, 30 doors on display to show, you know, every single piece of glass.
That's really neat. And you can show all those different styles and actually see and visualize what it looks like.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt, good tour, man. Let's get back to the program, and we'll see you back at the showroom.
All right, thanks.
Matt, there's nothing like a tour on doors where you actually can slide the door and touch the door. You know, I tried to show how easily that one Geldwin slid, but it's really hard to do that unless you come visit. Let's clarify for these guys, though, some of the costing that we talked about. As I was watching that a second ago, I realized maybe I didn't make it clear that wasn't an $800 door. That was,
you know, linear footage wise, you know, it could be $600 to $800 for the vinyl door.
Yep.
You know, it's an excellent starting point for a bifolding door. And then you can move into the clad doors, and you can be around $1,200 to $1,400 a foot.
Yeah, and so that's, you know, 8, 9, maybe 9, 6 foot tall, but each foot adds $1,200 to maybe $1,400. So that door, if that's a 10-foot door, 10 times $1,200, that's a $12,000 door, and that's not install. That's just the door itself delivered to your job site.
Yeah, and then you add a screen like we showed there. You know, you got another $4,000 on top of that.
Yeah.
So they can get pretty pricey.
Yeah, they can get pricey. A lot of good options, though. Did we mention pricing on that? I wanted to clarify pricing on that lift and slide. Kind of the last door we showed was the lift and slide, which happened to be a Marvin. I've really liked the lift and slides. That's one of my favorite options. Tell me about pricing on lift and slides.
So lift and slides, just due to the complexity and what they take to install, they just carry a hefty price tag, and you're anywhere between $2,000 and $3,000 a foot on those units.
Yeah, so that's an expensive door. A 10-foot door could be $20,000 on a lift and slide.
It gets expensive real quick.
For sure. Now, one thing that we haven't spent a lot of time talking about in this program that I want to get your advice on is, you know, different architectural styles are going to lead towards different types of, especially thinking about doors and their ability to hold out wind or water or rain. And that's sometimes dictated by less overhangs, more overhangs, things like that. Any advice you can give people watching about some of these door styles we just talked about, and which ones are tighter sealing, which ones are better in those types of locations?
Well, the biggest thing with what creates a really weatherproof door is how well it seals against the frame. And bifolding outswing type doors like we just showed, they seal up against the frame. The panels are pressed up against the weather strip. Nothing's getting in.
Yeah.
You know, there's just no chance. You have the sliding doors. There's more chance for movement. There's more chance for, you know, air, bugs, whatever can come into the house. So the more overhang you have, though, you have more shielding. So you can, you know, play around with the options.
Yeah, so if I could interpret that from a builder's perspective, the sliding doors tend to be more air leaky and more water leaky. You would not want to put that big multi-slide on a no overhang house at the top of a hill where wind is buffeting against it, because you're going to get water in a door like that. And even more so, you wouldn't want to put moisture sensitive, you know, hardwood floors up against that, or drywall up against it. You want to be cautious about what you're doing. Whereas some of these multi-folds, if they're an outswing, they've got the wind blowing the door towards the weather stripping, and maybe they're even getting more tight. Would you say that's a fair assessment?
Yeah, that is perfect.
And with that being said, we actually yesterday visited a house right up on the hill, right over here, that Matt worked very closely with the architect and builder on to put together a contemporary styled house with a window and door package that I think you're going to find really interesting. So with that, let's cut out to the house under construction that we visited yesterday. Matt, this is a gorgeous location. Look at these 360 views and this beautiful contemporary house behind us. What's the story over here?
Oh man, this is an incredible house that Ron Heston, a local architect, helped design. It's actually a rebuild from the Thomas Fire. Back in 2018, this whole area unfortunately got heavily hit by the Thomas Fire. Many homes were lost, and this was one of them. The owners lost their home during the fire, and they decided they wanted to rebuild with a much newer contemporary style home.
Dang, 3 years later, here we go. Gorgeous house.
Yeah, this project definitely, it actually spanned the whole period of time.
Did it?
I was involved in it for all 3 years from the beginning. We incorporated a lot of the products that we saw in the showroom with Andersen and many others.
So let's talk about some of those specifically, because we're really focusing on windows and doors here, although there's a lot to talk about with this gorgeous house. Talk to me about the window and door package. What was the original intent? What do we use, and what were some of the reasons behind that?
So when this project got started, it was drawn up as, again, a real contemporary home, but a lot of aluminum, a lot of glass, and just to keep the views as maximum as possible.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, the aluminum products are really expensive, and when it comes to insurance, especially an insurance rebuild, the budget's really tight.
Yeah, you don't have that much to work with.
So we worked really closely with Andersen, combining both their Andersen E-Series, their clad window, and also their 100 series, a composite window.
Really?
Yeah, to create a lot of different effects, to create an aluminum look without the expenditure.
So what we're seeing here is a mix of E-Series, which is the more upper end, not the very most expensive, but an upper end. And interestingly enough, the 100, which is really kind of a base model for Andersen. I like that.
Yeah, it really is. It pairs real nice. I mean, right here that you see on the front of the house, we got a 100 series window right here, and right behind me we have E-Series windows right behind.
That's awesome. Now in the back of the house, you've got this gorgeous wraparound with a view that's all aluminum clad. It kind of looks like one big door system that kind of zigzags through. Talk to me about the design and what you did there with Andersen.
So Andersen thankfully carries a lot of different accessory products for their windows, specifically their clad windows. And one thing myself, the Finnish carpenter Bill Vano, and Andersen all worked together on was creating this aluminum storefront look, but with their E-Series products. So we're able to use a lot of their capping products, a lot of their corner bead type products to create the simulated storefront look.
Interesting. And I'd be willing to bet that those all meet your Title 24 requirements too for energy efficiency.
Exactly. I mean, this all meets Title 24. No problems at all on the doors or anything. If we used aluminum type door system, we would have never met the energy codes that are required now.
Now, what's the story on that giant pivot here at the front door?
That is the crown jewel for this house.
I like that.
We, between Bill Vano, the homeowners, the architect, we all designed this door and worked with one of our suppliers called B&B Millworks to develop this door. And it is a massive 5-foot by 10-foot, if I recall correctly, pivot door.
How about that?
And then we could go inside and you can go meet Bill right now and talk about the doors that we have done in this house.
I like it. Let's do it. Come on, guys. Oh man, that is a pretty door. Hey, Bill.
Hey, Matt, how you doing?
Good to see you, brother. How's it going?
Good. Welcome to Ventura.
Thank you. Tell me about this door, Bill.
Well, this is a little door we had made from a BMC. It's
not a little door.
Not a little door. It's about 450 pounds to 500 pounds. It's white oak. It's supported by a Fritz Jurgen pivot hinge,
Okay.
which we like because up here you get wind where the house might vortex. So if you had a heavy door like this, it would want to slam. So this controls it.
That kind of controls the action as it's closing.
Yeah, it would be dangerous if it didn't have the hinge on it to control the speed.
I like that. And it's kind of slow and controlled as it closes, isn't it?
It does. It has some adjustability to it. Latch speed and sweep speed.
That's nice. That's probably not an inexpensive piece of hardware, is
No, it is not, but it's worth it.
And BMC made the door for you, and
Yes,
then your
they
guys
did.
hung it?
Yeah, BMC made the door. We specified it with the jamb thickness, the offset on the pivot, and the height. It's a third dimension between the glass and the door. And they just nailed it. I mean, it's a fabulous door.
I like
it's
it.
2 1/4 inches thick. It's got an LVL core. So we're pretty confident it's not going to warp or anything to that effect. So
Wow, really nice.
it's got
Good action.
it's got Baldwin hardware on it, which we really like up here. It's Baldwin's lifetime finish, which is going to be good with the ocean conditions.
There you go. Now, typically, I would say we don't want to pivot on a no overhang. And it looks like there's no overhang here, but in fact, it's these massive skylights letting all this light into the space. This is really neat.
Yeah, it really is. The architect did a great job. It's just a fabulous home.
Yeah, and including this foyer has a pretty good overhang, but it just feels like it's super lit. Now,
Yes.
Bill, I hear there's some other cool doors in this house. Can you show me a few more?
Yeah, we continued with the white oak theme, and we have a white oak, sequential white oak channeled door, and it also has Baldwin hardware on it, and it's hung on Tectus hinges.
Some hidden hinges.
Yes, it is. It's a hidden hinge, and it's similar to a cabinet hinge, and it has adjustability.
Yep.
So you could adjust it up or down, left or right, and you can have a little bit of racking adjustability too. So it's an awesome hinge for us. BMC supplied us all pre-hung. So what we did is we specified the jamb thickness, door width, door height, door thickness, hinge spacing, and they provide it. They pre-hang it, and easy for us. We just go ahead and set it flush with the wall conditions.
That's really nice.
Makes it real easy for us.
I like that, Bill. Now, I've used Tectus before. I've also used a lot of Sugatsuni. And the nice thing about the Sugatsuni is you can actually remove them without having to unscrew. You can basically take it off the hinge. But the nice thing about Tectus is they have a really nice router template. However, cool that you got these pre-hung. You don't always see that happening, especially on a really special hinge like that. And then I'm also noticing you've got this really cool reglet detail that's really crisp and raking light coming down, so you don't have a lot of ability to fake anything, going right to this recessed basin here too.
Correct. With the contemporary home, you get a little detail with things like this. The riglet, basically, you can start here and go around the whole house and come back again. It hooks up with the baseboard and continues around every door. So really, I mean, if it didn't have that, I don't think it's the same house. Just doesn't have the details.
Yeah.
It follows into the ceiling, and it's lighted. It has an LED light that runs around. So there's some really nice effects at night here as well.
Oh
Yes.
man, beautiful work. So you had to scribe these baseboards all to the finished floor probably. And then probably your guys installed the fry reglet too, is that right?
What we did was we shoot a laser line for the drywallers, and the drywall contractor then installs the fry riglet to the line, and then he finishes down to it. And at that point, when the house is done, well, later down the road, you know, after months of drywalling and what have you, the last thing we do after the floor is done is we scribe it and we backfit it under there, you know, being cautious that we keep the 9/16 gap everywhere. We use gauges to go around and make sure we're keeping the gap.
Great work, Bill. Great work.
Thank you.
Another door over here I heard is a really cool one. What else can you show me?
Yeah, so here's another type of pivot door we did here. This is a 5010.
Another big opening.
Yeah, doors seem to be getting bigger these days, which
Yeah,
is
they
nice.
do.
I mean, it's nice to have an entry large to the master, the view outside and what have you. This door is a little different, and it has an arm type closer, but it's
open stay. Is that
yes,
what they
it
call
does.
that,
It has a stay open feature as well as a close feature that's adjustable. So again, up here in the wind, we like to control these big doors so they don't smash you, but it's got a nice action.
Yeah, look at that. It's kind of soft close as it comes down. That's really nice. Same pivot hardware on this door?
No, this is a little different pivot hardware. This is a Rixson 440.
Okay.
And it's just more of a static pivot hinge. It doesn't have any control or anything because we have it up in the top of the door.
Yeah, and so you basically recess that into a rabbet in that door frame up there.
That's correct. There's an LCN pneumatic closer that's recessed into the top of the door, and then the arm, and it's fully adjustable. You can adjust sweep speed, latch speed, and all around closing speed. So we like it. It's great for this door.
And on their strike plates, don't they have a special feature on their strikes too that I've seen? What is it about that makes it different?
We like the Geldwin hardware, the Estate series. It has a Teflon glided latch on it, so it closes very smoothly. And Geldwin, we say, just feels right. We just
Rather than metal on metal,
correct.
that Teflon hits on the metal.
Yes, it does.
Kind of glides into
Yes,
place.
it does. Very nice hinge.
Beautiful.
Very nice latch.
And Bill, when I was here earlier, you got a chance to show me that gorgeous work you did around the fireplace with those panels, top-notch work, the millwork in here.
Oh, thank you very
Amazing
much.
job by your crew, Bill.
So again, white oak is the theme. We continued it on the fireplace, and we have sequential panels that we made, and we can show you those if you want.
I think we're short on time. I got to get back to the studio, but we'll definitely show a couple pan shots so these guys could at least see your beautiful finish.
That sounds great.
Bill, I really appreciate you showing me off the house. Beautiful windows and doors, and ultimately really nice craftsmanship, which I appreciate.
Thanks very much, Matt. Appreciate you coming. It's always good to hear good things.
Let's head back to the studio. Matt, appreciate the tour. Gorgeous house. And what I liked about that house was that it's a really good example of, you walk up, it's gorgeous. You would never think that the clients had a budget, frankly. It looks like a no budget house. But yet when you talk to the builder, when you talk to Bill, the finish carpenter that I was talking to you, the architect, you realize, oh yeah, we did some value engineering. Not everything you see here was the original intent. We might have dialed it back to fit a budget. When we think about windows and doors, dialing it back to fit the budget is a big topic always. Any advice for people watching, either from that house or from your experience?
The biggest thing, I mean, you can take it from that house right there. The window and door package is one of the most expensive parts of a home build.
For sure.
So
it's a huge line item.
A lot of times people are going to be taken back with how much that can cost, but there are ways we can take that package like you saw in that house. We use the entry-level Andersen 100 series on a lot of the home to, lower that cost. And where we had to, capitalize on the views and stuff, we used the higher-end Andersen E series. So it was able to make a nice balance. They all flowed together real nicely and save some money.
I mean, that showed your expertise too, right? Because you and Tim, the builder, worked very closely with Ron, the architect, to go, all right, how do we meet the design intent, but also meet the customer's budget needs?
Yeah.
And that's where you're such a valuable input on that. That's hard for me alone as the builder to do. Having that partner in the window and door industry really helps. Carlos, after watching that, any advice you have for people on value engineering for bringing the cost down on some of these projects?
Yeah, we can always look to ways to value engineer your project. I mean, just because it starts off at one price doesn't mean that we can offer some other options. You can look at the big door units, which, no pun intended, are a big deal, but there's options out there for the big door units as well. But yeah, we have plenty of options to value engineer any project, so big or small.
And another thing that you and I were talking about earlier off camera was just because the project was designed this way doesn't mean that that's the way it necessarily needs to get built. And you mentioned specifically things like, I often see plans that come in with 4 or 5 operable windows in a bedroom, on a big bedroom with a view.
Right.
And those operable windows are more expensive. You're going to spend 20-30% more from the same manufacturer, same product for a casement compared to, let's say, a picture window, a fixed window. And that's what I did at my house, where I did, I realize I live in a climate where I don't open my windows very often.
Right.
It's usually hot and humid out, even in the off months where I live. So I did fixed almost everywhere. operables to meet egress for fire reasons, right?
Right.
But almost all of my windows in my house are fixed, which also means, by the way, I've got a tighter ceiling window, I've got better blower door scores, and I'm not worried about infiltration coming through those variable windows.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely one way to value engineer your project is putting some fixed windows in there.
Yeah.
You still get the good look. Sure.
Let's transition to the last phase. I know we're already an hour in, guys. Thank you for holding on for us. I feel like this information is so valuable that it's worth going a little long. And I want to answer your question. So if you've got a question you haven't posed yet, drop it in the Q&A tab. Let's take the next 15 or so minutes to go through as many of these as possible. Now, I've grouped some of these kind of mentally into a few categories. And one question that I've seen come up a bunch, Matt, is windows for soundproofing, which is kind of funny. We're on a busy street here at your showroom. What can people do when they're interested in windows that are going to reduce noise into the house?
So the biggest thing that a lot of people don't realize, you can go with thicker glass, number one, to help reduce sound, laminated glasses as well. Also, clad products really help with that because the wood actually absorbs sound better than you would say a vinyl or aluminum or a fiberglass.
Interesting. I've heard that the laminated glass, because if your outside pane or inside pane, let's say, is laminated, is thicker, and then the other pane is not laminated, that reduction in kind of pane thickness helps reduce that sound. And in fact, some of my projects, I've upgraded the standard window package to the sound rated version from the same manufacturer. In fact, Marvin did that for me on a house I built for one of my clients 2 years ago. And it wasn't that much more money in the scheme of things. And my BMC rep was able to go, hey, here's the option. It was, I forget how much more, a couple $1,000s more, $3,000 or $4,000 for the whole house.
No, it really isn't bad. And Marvin, Geldwin, Andersen, Milgard, they all offer a STC rated product. So there's some option there that you can do.
Yeah, that's great. Let's go to a couple other questions. Another theme that I saw in the questions was, if I'm going to build a house that's really going to last, like the house I'm building for my family, I'm planning on being there for 20 plus years. If you're interested in longevity, what are your best options on windows in your mind, would you guys say?
Well, obviously the clad window, and again, like I talked about earlier in the show, the more money you spend, the more options you have, the better warranty you're going to get as well. So a lot of these higher end clad products, some of them have up to a 20-year warranty on the finish on the exterior. So 20 years is a long time to have on that finish on the exterior. Some of them have a 10-year warranty, just kind of depends. But obviously in today's world, a lot of people upgrade to a clad window. Again, they like the look of the wood without the maintenance, and they get a great finish on the exterior that'll last them a very long time.
Yeah, I mean, wood windows have been used in America for the last couple centuries, right?
Right. Yeah,
so
absolutely.
getting that cladding on the outside means that wood's going to be kind of protected from the elements. It's really a long-lasting window.
Right.
Let's see. What are some of the other questions? We got a ton of questions, by the way. Thank you guys for dropping all the questions in the tab out there. One of the questions I thought was really interesting was, are thermally broken aluminum windows significantly more or even more efficient than standard non-thermally broken aluminum? Can you answer that one for us?
Yeah, they definitely make a huge difference because you do have that plastic, that thermal break that goes between the two panes. I mean, the two pieces of aluminum. Traditionally, you would be able to feel all hot and cold coming in through here when you touch this, but here you don't feel anything. That also helps controls the heat and cold coming in. And then also when you combine it with the super energy efficient glass packages now, it just is far in between what that offers.
Yeah, you're typically going to see, I think, and this is my guess, I'm not 100% on this, non-thermally broken aluminum, probably a U factor of 0.40, something like that.
Yeah.
Whereas your thermally broken, often you can get down to 0.30 or maybe even less.
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, we mentioned Title 24 in the video. What are the U factor requirements under Title 24?
So California requires a 3.0 on the U factor and then a 2.3 on the solar heat gain. When you do go thermally broken, yes, we can get those numbers. Unfortunately, it does come at a price tag though.
Yeah. One of the questions that came in was about expansion and contraction. Can you tell me about these kind of different materials and what people could or builders need to know about expansion and contraction?
It comes down to right at the beginning stage. It's just the framing of the house, the rough opening. you'll see just when you get these quotes from the factory, you'll see a lot of the companies will supply different rough openings that are required.
Yeah.
That's because a vinyl window, fiber, and an aluminum window, they'll move more than say a fiberglass window. So you get more expansion and contraction. You move up in altitude, then you also have to deal with the glass packages. So then one of the things that helps with energy, the energy efficiency of the glass is we'll put argon gas in between the two panes of glass. But when you move up in altitude, now you can't transport that glass. So we'll add breather tubes. That's another point of expansion and contraction that has to be controlled.
Yeah, one of the questions about building a house under elevation, and you would need to know that. Another question was about building a house coastally. You know, you guys probably deal with that here where you've got some coastal houses. What can you tell people about coastal construction and what they need to know for windows and doors?
Yeah, you have to be careful on when building at the coast, and we deal with it all the time, and we're here actually at the coast. But again, you look at the finishes. Vinyl's a really good product to use. Fiberglass, I used to tell people all the time, if you can make a boat out of fiberglass and put it in water for long periods of time, how would a window last, you know, that doesn't see water, especially here in California? But they do hold up really well. And obviously, a lot of the cloud products, and then the wood have preservatives in there as well to help preserve the wood. But composites, but wood, obviously, because of dry rot, you'd want to stay away from wood.
Yeah, so, yeah, that makes sense. Another question that I got was about warranties. You know, I'm sure manufacturers have a whole range of warranties on things. Actually, I'm going to rephrase the question. There were some questions about warranties. There was also some questions about install and who installs. Do they need to be certified install? A quote that is my own quote that I'm going to quote myself on, and I think this is accurate intuitively, but this isn't some stat that I read in a building science book. I think that 90% of window failures are an install issue and not actually a manufacturing install, or not a manufacturer's issue. So, you know, when we see windows that have problems that are 5, 10, 20 years old, and I take those houses apart to remodel, most of the time I find the problem was an install related issue and not the window manufacturer's issue. What can you guys tell us about install and what people need to know? I know we don't have a install clinic going on today, but what do we need to know as a builder, remodeler, architect on install?
Well, that is really true, Matt. And a lot of it has to do with the waterproofing of the window, the type of flashing used, using the sill pan, proper method of installation, making sure everything is square, not racked, your reveals are tight. So, but again, a lot of it boils down, you're absolutely right, is the install. And a lot of people come back and they want to blame manufacturers, they want to blame us, but at the end of the day, it boils down to having the proper installer to install the product. Some people here in California use a framer. You might use your general contractor or someone like Bill Vano, who specializes in windows and doors. He's the perfect guy you'd want to use to install your windows and doors. So. Yeah,
that's interesting. For me in Texas, it's typically the framer that does the install. And one of my secret sauces, if you guys have watched any of my videos, is that I use the same crews over and over and over again. And my framer, Bill is his name, and his guys have been working with me for 12 years now. We've installed almost every product you've seen in the showroom from different manufacturers. There are some nuances between them, but usually it comes down to putting a good sill pan in, using a good weatherization system. I've made lots of nerdy videos about that. But I think it's really key to training your crew, talking about the systems ahead of time. And also, I would mention that you want to think about this window package and what you're actually going to install before the framer shows up. Because if you frame the house and the rough opening is not right, it's really expensive later to come back and reframe and pay that framer to make a bigger rough opening, let's say, because some manufacturers' call sizes are their actuals, and some people have a call size that needs an RO that's a ½ inch bigger. Any comments on that?
Well, I'll just kind of continue with the installer, especially if you got products like the bifold doors, the lift and slide doors. You know, a lot of the actual vendors will actually offer training courses to show the end user, the end installer, how to install them. So, you know, that's one thing that we have to offer, to be able to show them, like, this is how the product is going to be properly installed, and then the end user doesn't have to worry about it later.
Good stuff, guys. We're going on 1 hour and 15. I think we need to shut this down.
All right.
It's such a big topic. It's so hard to cover this in a 20-minute episode. My hope, though, is that you guys watching this got some good info. I want to say a huge thanks to Matt and Carlos for opening up their showroom to us, for spending most part of yesterday and today with me. And I want to thank you guys for joining us on the live. If you didn't join us live, you're watching this pre-recorded, there'll be a link somewhere down below where you can sign up for our weekly newsletter. That's when we're announcing all these live events. We're going to send you an email from my team every Friday morning at 9 a.m. Central Time. It goes out. And I'd love to have you guys join us for that. I've got myself and I've got 5 other, and pretty soon many other contributors on Build Show Network, all shooting videos on their job sites, giving their knowledge for free to you guys, all supported by great companies like BMC, Builders First Source, that sponsored today's video. So look for that in the description. And like I said, huge thanks to these guys, BFS, BMC. If I didn't say it earlier, you may not know this, BMC that I've bought from for the last, over 20 years now as a builder, has teamed up with Builders First Source. These two big companies have combined. They're like 550 some locations around the US. Their showroom in Austin is where I take my clients to that looks similar to this one. They've got great people like Matt all around the nation stationed for you as a builder, remodeler, architect to bring your clients into, to give you this kind of very detailed pricing, to work through that value engineering so that you can figure out the best way to build your house, because these are not windows that are on a shelf somewhere. These are all windows that are getting made at the manufacturer once you place this order and put your deposit down. So with that being said, guys, follow me on Twitter or Instagram. Otherwise, we'll see you next time on The Build Show.